Yeah. So, first of all, very glad to be back with all of you. Thank you so very much for giving me this opportunity to share this Vedic wisdom with all of you. So we are continuing to read our most amazing literature written by Rupa Goswami, which is the law book of Vaishnav uh, for all the Vaishnavas, the law book which we follow. Like for the citizens, there is a law book for everybody to follow, and if there is a deviation, then immediately there is punishment from the government, right? That okay, you are not following certain laws that we have set up. So similarly, in our bhakti marg, this is our law book. Nectar of instruction is our law book, and any deviation from this book, from these laws, means we are not doing something right in our bhakti. So we covered NOI first, Nectar of instruction text 1, and then today we are gonna cover start text 2. So we'll keep it more like a discussion, so everybody can share their realization, any questions, suggestions like that. So text 2, Atyahara priyasascha prajalpo niyamagraha jansangasya lolyamscha shadbir bhakti vinashyati. So it says, so in this shloka, you see, there are 6 subject matters that had been discussed. The important thing, first of all, you see, shadbir bhakti vinashyati. So it's talking about Shat means 6. Bhakti, we know devotion service, and Vinashyati means destroy. So this text, my voice is not audible. Okay. So this text is talking about 6 subjects, and text is saying, okay, if you are not focusing on these 6 subjects, or if you are doing these 6 things, then Bhakti Vinashyati, devotion service will be destroyed. Interestingly, if you see next, just next text after this is NOI 2, this NOI 3. The third text will say Shadbhir Bhakti Prasidati. Right? Prasidati means increase, which means the next text after this text 3 will talk about 6 things which will increase bhakti. But this one, that one we are discussing NOI 2, is saying Shadbhir Bhakti Vinashyati. So it is first talking about the 6 things which will destroy bhakti. You understood? So first we are discussing about don'ts. The book text 2 is discussing about don'ts first, and then it will say, okay, these are the do's. So 6 don'ts and 6 do's. If we focus on completely focus on those things, then we can see our devotion service like shooting up very fast. Now, because we are talking about rules, do's, don'ts, sometimes people say that I don't want to follow rules, don't tell me do this, do that. I mean, I will do whenever I wish to do. Don't ask me to chant every day. I mean, I do chant, but whenever I wish to, I will chant. And then I will keep my bead bag aside for months, probably years. And then whenever I will chant again. So what would you tell these people? If someone, all of you are preachers, if someone you interact with and you ask him to chant and he says, I do chant sometime whenever I wish to, but what is the need of putting this in a rule or something? I will chant whenever I feel to. What would you suggest him? Yes, so that proof. What would be your suggestion to that person? If someone is saying, I will chant whenever I wish to, don't ask me to chant every day or chant these many rounds. Don't bind me into some criteria. or have prasadam only after offering it to the Lord. These are all rules, right? We are putting some rules on someone. He's saying, I will do it whenever I wish to. So what would you suggest him?
Roji, Roji, it depends if initially someone is new in this bhakti process, and if he's trying to initiate something, and he's saying that we will chant, I will chant accordingly, then it is okay. But otherwise, if we have to go through the rules and regulations, we are in the Guru Parampara, so we have to follow the instructions as it is.
Hmm.
So for in that case, uh, it is like we have discussed in the first shloka.
Hmm.
It was like, if you want to become the Goswami, then you have to control. You should have control over your mind. Okay,
Hmm.
and if you don't have control over your mind, then how you will become the Goswami, and then how you will be able to do bhakti properly.
Hmm.
So bhakti
Hmm.
means controlling the mind. So I we are somewhere, like we used to travel somewhere and we have some street lights over, and we might think that, oh, why there are street lights, they are blocking us, they're blocking our way. But because of those street lights only, we will be able to travel much longer, especially in countries like India. So
Hmm.
I think these rules and regulation don't bind us, they give us more freedom. So
Hmm.
uh,
Okay.
yes, Suji,
So,
that is my
so
opinion.
this is very nice that if the person is new, we will give him some way of doing his in his own speed. But let's say the person has spent 3, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. Like in our temple also, we get to meet sometime devotees. Those has been coming into temple for years, but you don't see much participation from them in preaching or in serving in temple, or they are not very actively participating into devotional service. And you preach them, and if they say we do when we wish to do. Now for them, your first argument would be, you will say, okay, there is a street light, which is a good thing. Okay, so you say there is a street light, the signal is there, and if you don't follow the signal, there will be crash. And if everyone say, no, I wish to drive in my own way, then there will be crash, and then there will be accident. Um, that's good. That's good. But the person is not understanding that there is a traffic on this path. Hmm? For him, it's like a free road. It's like a highway. I can take rest, then I can drive in my own speed. Uh, but yes, for the new person, we'll give him some time. So that's one. Okay. Thank you, Ditru. We'll hear you. Yes, Smita Mataji, anything from your side?
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes.
I do believe what Prabhuji also just said, that yes, I mean in the beginning it's okay, but
Hmm.
what happens, like if you put yourself, like if you commit to something and you keep that commitment, that is very more important in bhakti, because unless you commit, every day is like just any other day and then it will pass. But if you commit to it and then have that sincerity,
Why do we
then
put
yes,
commitment?
chanting.
When you are committed, you
Mhm,
becomes very much bound to follow that. The initial thing is why to put commitment to this. For example, so many people, they start living in living relationships. They don't want to
mhm.
commit as a husband and wife to each other. So similarly, when someone comes into devotional service, he's saying, I don't want to put into commitment, I just want to do in my own way. So, but you are saying, no, put some commitment to it, like 1 round or 2 round every day, or don't, certain don'ts you should not be doing every day. That is our question. Why do we, okay, the case is not for new devotees, that is outside. The case is
Okay.
not for committed devotees. This is specifically for those we want, those you see little spark and you want to fuel that spark.
So how it worked for me, I can say that, Prabhu. So basically, life is about discipline. I mean, discipline works for me, routine works for me.
Mhm.
So unless I put myself in that routine, and that's when used the word commitment earlier. So unless there is some routine that I want to sincerely try out any new thing, even in outside of bhakti also, usually we say that any new thing you tried for 21 days minimum, and then until it becomes a habit, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you have to give yourself that time to try something new also. So if you keep something as an optional, okay, let me try. So
It
as
might
soon as you say let me try, it becomes an optional thing for you.
be a bit
Then there
lethargy.
is no commitment. Right, there is lethargy, there are many excuses. Oh, no time. Oh, I slept late, I woke up late, and all of those things come into play, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's when I feel like uh, keeping some discipline and some routine to try something.
Yeah.
First of all, that commitment has to be there, that no, I definitely want to try for 21 days at least and see how I feel about it.
Okay. Okay.
So for any new person also, I feel like anything that they want to try in life,
Mm-hmm.
unless you put in a routine and put in a discipline, they will never even try for those 21 days even.
Mm. Okay. Okay. That's good.
So in my mind that works. So for anyone new, yeah, I mean, I would, that's my suggestion also, like be sincere at it. Even if you don't like it after 21 days, yeah, that's that person's choice at that point. But
Mm.
even to try it, there has to be a routine and a discipline.
Okay. So that's your opinion. Okay. We hear Udit
Mhm.
Prabhu. We hear Smita Mataji. Jay Prabhu, you wanna share?
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree to totally very good points made by both Smita Mataji and Uday Prabhu. I'm also thinking the way to look at this is, see, as Lord Krishna has said in Bhagavad Gita, we have all these Maya and everything is his energies, but because
Mm-hmm.
of our past actions, we have come into this, we are involved in this Maya, and putting all kinds of forces on us.
Mm-hmm.
So we have all these distractions, attractions and things and wishes, all these are always influencing us all the time, right?
Yeah.
Now we have to, by getting into, so these distractions will remain, are there every day.
Mm.
Same way to come out of that and into bhakti, we need to be regularly into it, otherwise, and it has to be at that level where we are able to, we are more into this side
Mm.
than getting distracted from the maya side, right? I mean, so
Mm.
there is a certain level, that's why the discipline is needed. So if we do it, if we are not disciplined, we are basically letting us be, letting the maya or the forces continue
Mm.
to work on us. All the distractions of the world, they are
Mm.
having that bigger pull on us. So we are not able to get out of that until we
Mm.
get into a certain level of commitment to this. That is the reason. So
Mm. Okay. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Yes, Shweta Mata, you wanna share?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Actually, Prabhuji, in our culture, there is a guru called Kanaka Dasaru, like in
Mm.
14th century. And in
Mm.
this Kirtana, he beautifully mentioned that, see, after 84 crore of birth, we'll get a human life. So when you
Mm.
get a human life, this is a time you can do bhakti. We don't know what we, get as a next birth. So when
Yeah.
we are not utilizing it properly, definitely we'll fall into, other lower birth. So
Mm.
definitely our mind, is not in a mind to chant. So if we don't know like how much time we are going to live, Prabhuji, we don't know whether next month we'll
Mm.
be alive or not. So this
Yeah.
is the time we have to do the bhakti. So and these rules are not asking 24 by 7. If you do 24 by 7, you are excellent. But
Mm.
we are in this Kali Yuga, we are not, made to chant at least 24 by 7. At least whatever the few rounds is given, at least if
Mm.
we do that, that is a great thing, so that we will be doing devotional service. So chanting is like we are being in connection with the God, with Krishna.
Mm.
So we are
Mm.
speaking daily through chanting. We are
Mm.
expressing our feeling through chanting. So if
Mm.
we cannot able to do this, I don't know what we can do that. So if we keep on postponing things, there are always there are plenty of reasons to postpone it. For example,
Mm.
when so we may have small kids at home, we have patients at home, or we may
Mm.
feel anything. Someday we would have felt very bad in our health, or there are many things will be there. If we keep on searching, everything is a distraction. Everything is the things to take away from the Lord. So
Mm.
we should only understand this. This is the only birth. This is the only time we can chant this. We don't know what
Yeah.
is next. If we keep that in our mind, obviously without anybody is telling, we ourselves will chant. Sometimes
Mm.
even I chant at 2 o'clock in the midnight, 3 o'clock in the midnight. Yeah,
Mm.
because even I did the mistake of not chanting when I get a time in, in a afternoon or in morning. So because I postponed it. So, but I realized that at least, no, at least now I should chant before, sleeping at least, or before, at least now I got my mind, so I have to do it. I have to do it now at least. So that is how I'm fooling myself, because my only fear is I don't know when I'll get a chance to chant it again. So if that,
Again, yeah.
yeah, if that everybody has kept in mind, obviously they themselves will initiate. No one, anybody, the reminder is not required, Prabhuji.
Jai, Jai, Jai. Okay, so that's one. Okay, Udit Pro is trying to say something. Yes, Udit Pro.
Roji, yes, in addition to all these, I have some points like if someone is older in getting older in bhakti, or 3 or 4 year, he's 3 or 4 year old practicing Krishna consciousness. First, we need to understand whether you trust Shastra or not, and that is very very important. If you trust Shastra, then only you can proceed. But what Shastra is saying, follow Guru Parampara, follow the instructions of the Guru. And if you're not following the instructions of Guru, then you are taking it casually. Then Guru will take you casually, and if Guru will take you casually, Krishna will also take you casually. So your effort will not go in vain, but you will not be able to get the perfection in this life at
Result.
least. Yes,
Okay.
Trudy, that
Okay.
is.
Okay. Jai, Jai, Jai. All answers are correct. I'm very glad that all answers are correct. Let me share my perspective also. I'll quickly. Okay. I'll share my screen again. You must be seeing the MS Paint I have opened. So I'll start. I think we discussed about it during our crash course also, and we'll discuss it again. And then you will realize that all your answers were actually in sync, which means all of you are correct. So what happens, when a living entity, let's say this is a spiritual world, and this is material world. Okay. What happens when a living entity falls here? So a living entity is here, but then he falls in the material world. So it comes here. Living entity is here, but due to some reason, it's now in the material world. Living entity means all of us. Sometimes when we say living entity, people think, oh, it's about others. No, it's for me, for you, for everybody. So it comes here. So it's a soul. The soul falls in the material world. Soul, and the soul is being given a body. So it's a body. Soul is given a body. It's a box. Like we wear clothes and all. So similarly, soul is given a cloth named as body. Now the soul, why soul has been given a body? Because soul was having some spiritual body here, but now soul wants to enjoy separately from the Lord. So the spiritual body is meant to serve the Lord, right? So soul cannot use the spiritual body anymore. The soul is given material body. Why? The material body soul can utilize for himself. So soul is given a material body. Now this material body, with this material body comes a lot of other things. You know what is that? Desires. What is a desire? Desire is to enjoy separately from Krishna. The desire was there and the body was given. So the desire is inner, attached to the soul, which means soul is now contaminated. From the pure state, like a water drop in the sky is pure. But the now water, as soon as the drop comes in contact with the earth, it is contaminated, because earth is contaminated. Earth is contaminated with what? Dust. So immediately water drop touches and drop is also contaminated. So material world is contaminated with what? Material world is contaminated with the desire to enjoy separately from Krishna. So soul, as soon as soul comes in the material world, because for the soul, the spiritual world is no more an atmosphere where soul can reside. Why? Because the spiritual world is meant to serve the Lord, but the soul is saying, no, I want to enjoy separately from Krishna, from the Lord. So say, okay, you go into the material world. Material world is contaminated with what? To enjoy separately from the Lord. So as soon as soul comes here, soul also gets contaminated. And as soon as soul is contaminated, it is given material body to enjoy. Now soul is contaminated means what? Soul says, I want to enjoy separately from Krishna, which means I want to have nice food, nice shelter, everything nice for my own enjoyment. Now, for those own enjoyment, soul starts making a lot of endeavors to enjoy separately from Krishna. And in that endeavor, it develops a lot of desires. A small example, we can satisfy it with dal rice. Dal rice will satisfy our hunger. But we want to have after dal rice, let's say hungry person is not having, cannot afford even dal rice also. But now he is putting a lot of endeavor and he can afford dal rice. After that, he will start desiring for what? For some puri sabji probably. After that, probably rasgulla. So his desires is increasing. You want to have four-wheeler car. Once you have Maruti 800 small vehicle, then you say, no, I want more Wagoner. After Wagoner, some more bigger car, bigger car, bigger car. So like that, the soul keeps wandering in this material world, life after life also. So there would be many desires which soul will not be able to fulfill in this birth. So those desires will go with the soul in the next birth, next birth, next birth, next birth, and so on. So in our current state, our soul or ourself, not our soul, we are the soul. But we have the body, So we are completely contaminated with what? With a lot of material desires. And those desires are not definitely related with serving the Lord. If they are related with serving the Lord, perfectly fine. We are in the perfect stage. But we have the desires which are meant to satisfy ourselves. We want to gratify our desire senses. Make sense so far? So it's like, so we have forgotten our real estate. Our real estate is to serve the Lord, but we have forgotten we are trying to satisfy ourselves separately from Krishna. So it's like a someone uh, uh, in asylum, in some asylum or पागल खाना कहाँ पे उदित प्रो आगरा में ना आगरा में बोलते हैं ना हाँ. So it's like someone is in that situation. He is like a madman. He has forgotten that he is the son of some wealthy person and what he should be doing. And in that madness state, the people those are in perfect stage, like doctors and all, they are trying to cure that person so he can remind that he is actually a son of a wealthy person. So similarly, we are in this situation. We are mad after sense gratification, which we are not able to fulfill. But then pure devotee interrupts here. Pure devotees are in what? Pure devotees are in perfect stage. They come here. They say, okay, this soul has forgotten his real identity. Let let let's give him a chance. Let's give him some programs by which he can revive his original consciousness, his original situation. So they make programs like chanting, which is one of our powerful program. So what chanting will do? Chanting will start clarifying the dust, the material contamination that they have, the soul has, the dust of unlimited material desires. So start clearing them out. Chanting. Similarly, scriptures. So reading, hearing. These devotees are giving lectures. So they come into contact and then they started hearing them. So slowly, when we do all these do's, then what happens? The dust starts clearing out. The material dust that has covered the soul, it starts clearing out, and the soul feels more blissful. When people come into Krishna consciousness, they say, yeah, I feel more relaxed. My material attachments are now decreasing. I feel less lusty desires now. Why? Because they are following the do's, they are getting some benefit out of that, which is to get rid of material contamination. Now, at the same time, let's say you go to a doctor and doctor says, you take these medicines, but don't do all these things also. For example, you don't eat vegetables, don't eat outside food until you are having these medicines. So there is do's that have these medicines 3 times in a day, and there is a don't. There is a list of don'ts also, like don't eat outside food, don't drink juice. Some don'ts will be there. Now someone is saying, um, I wish to have medicine whenever I wish to. I will follow don'ts whenever I wish to. Then the person will not come out of this sickness. The disease state from that disease state, person will not be able to come out. Why? Because he is not following the prescription of the doctor, and the prescription is having do's, prescription is also having don'ts. Make sense? And doctor has clearly said, if you continue to do your, which you should not be doing, for example, if you continue to have food outside, the outside food, then you will fall sick again, the medicine will not affect. Then person is saying, okay, I will have the medicine, I will follow the don'ts also. Then doctor will say, yes, now you will be cured. Similarly, pure devotees are like doctors for us. They say, these are the do's, you should be doing this, and these are the don'ts, you should not be doing this. The combination of these two will work. And when you are following these two combination, then you can revive your original consciousness back, which means you are the eternal servant of the Lord. Now, very interestingly, if you go into this, if you go look at this book, text 2 is talking about what? Don'ts, correct? No? So it's not saying do this. In fact, Rupa Goswami has first mentioned don'ts. Don't do this. Why he is saying that? Why he is not first encouraging us to do what we are supposed to do, instead of letting us know what we should not be doing? See, all the rule and regulations are actually the servant of one supreme rule. What is that? Anyone knows? What is that supreme rule? So all the rules are meant to satisfy or bring us to that one rule. For example, the rule, as a citizen, our rule is to follow the government. But how do we follow that? Government has decided certain laws. You do this, do that, fill your tax on time, follow the rule, regulation of the road, and live like this. So certain rules are there. But all the rules are actually for what? To follow the government, the main authority, head of the country. Similarly, all the rules that we see in the scriptures are actually the servant of one rule. You call it one rule or two rule, but there is the rule is Smartata Satatam Vishnu Vismartavyo na Jayajut. It comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita also. It means Smarta Satatam Vishnu. Always remember Krishna or Vishnu. Always remember Krishna. Why? Always remember Krishna because this is the Bhakti Yoga. Fully Krishna conscious, 24/7. And then it says Vismarto na Jayajut, which means what? Never forget him. It says always remember Krishna, never forget him. Is it one rule or a two rule? What is your opinion? Is it one rule? Always remember Krishna. The shlok says Smarta Satatam Vishnu Vismartyo na Jayachut, which means always remember Krishna, and then second line says never forget him. It looks redundant, isn't it? What do you think, Smita Mataji?
Prabhuji, I think it's the same rule. I don't feel different. Absence of empty is fullness. Absence of darkness is light. So similarly,
Yes.
absence of not remembering is actually remembrance.
But then why it has been repeated?
Because what I don't know, but still, for example, even if we take some, if we introduce any law, like suppose if you kill a person, you'll be in a jail. So the thing is, you should know what is papa first, like. So then obviously punya is easy to teach. So if you don't know what is crime, then you cannot say what is a good thing, because most of the time we should be fearful of committing crime. So for me, without remembering is like a crime. So if we know that, obviously we'll be remembering the bhakti, something like that.
Okay. You see, you see what is the situation of pure devotees? Pure devotees, they always remember Krishna, correct? Na? They always remember Krishna. So for them, the second line does not apply. That Vismartyo na Jayachut, for them it doesn't apply. Why? Because they always remember Krishna. So does first First line apply to them. Smarta Satatam Vishnu. Does it apply to them? Actually, it does also not apply to them. Why? Because now they are fully Krishna conscious, which means the rules and regulations are meant for sadhakas, the Kanisht Adhikari, the person who is starting in Krishna consciousness. But the one who has purified himself completely, who is a pure devotee now, for them there is no rule. He himself is a rule. Whatever he will say, that will become a rule. So the Shastra's instructions are for sadhakas like you and me. So what happens at the initial stage, we do some endeavors, we do some actions, like we chant, we hear, we listen, we do a lot of services in the temple, for example. So there is some action involved, there are some activities involved. So from those, and that is why, Prabhupada has given this name devotional service to bhakti. That is, it's not just devotion. There should be some service attached to your devotion. Then it will be called as bhakti, devotional service. So when it comes to devotional service, service means some action, and action means some results, right? So those results should be in line with remembering Krishna and not forgetful of him. You know what I mean? So in one way, it looks like, oh, what is the need of the second line? Never forget Krishna. You can just say, remember Krishna. No, it is for the sadhakas to also point it out that your actions should not be of forgetfulness for Krishna, but should always be remembrance for Krishna. So that is why it has been mentioned separately, which means always remember Krishna, never forget him. Your action should be always inclined towards remembering him and never forget him. You can just say, always remember him. No, make sure you never remember him, because it is for sadhakas. They might do mistakes. It is always to remind him that don't do this. I remember when I was young, my father will ask me to bring something. For example, I'll go to market, I am going to buy some vegetables. My father will say, okay, bring some medicine also. When you come back, while you are coming back with vegetables and all, make sure you stop by at the medical store and bring this medicine also. I'll say, yeah, okay. And then he will say, bhul mat jana, dhyan rakhna. Why he's saying that, don't forget? He's saying because he knows my nature. I'm very forgetful. So he's pointing out, he's saying that while you are coming back, bring medicine, don't forget. He knows the actions. While I'm coming, I might forget. So similarly in devotional service, all our actions should be towards remembering Krishna and never forget him. Now, all the rule regulations, for example, this one, text 2 that we are reading is actually to serve that principle. What is that principle? Remembering him, not forgetting. This particular don't, this one don't, is to never forget Krishna. What is that don't? Let's see. So, so when we say don't, let me quickly take you to this PPT. So, so one is called Vidhi. You must have heard this already in our background. In India, all of us know, right? What is Vidhi? What is Nished? One is called Vidhi. One is called Nished. Nishedha. So Vidhi means do's, and Nishedha means don'ts. And this combined thing, when we do, then we are properly situated in Krishna consciousness. So what text 2 is we are discussing is talking about Nishedha, and do's will talk about in text 3 and so on. Right, so these are the 6 rules that we are studying here. Shadbir Bhakti Vinashyati. So my devotional service is finished when we do these 6 things. One is Atyahara. Atyahara, anyone knows what is Atyahara?
Eating more.
Overeating, yes, overeating. Overeating, how would you identify that you have overeaten? For example, Bhima. The diet of a Bhima we cannot eat. and Bhima cannot eat our diet. Bhima is very laborious person and he eats a lot. We cannot eat that much. If we do, then we'll blast. And we cannot expect Bhima to have our diet because he will get hungry, he will stay hungry. So how would one decide that he is overeating? What can it is individual to individual, correct? No?
Yeah, even after filling our stomach, still we have a desire to eat. Then we eat more. For example,
Ah,
after
ah,
fulfilling our hunger, still we feel
ah,
like, okay, we got an ice cream, let's eat that because I like it.
yeah,
Rasgulla, eat it like that because
yeah,
I desire, I'll eat it, not because I'm hungry.
hungry,
So
hungry, correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's one, huh? Then second is priyasascha. Priyasascha means over endeavor for mundane things, which are not anyway related with devotional service, but I'm over endeavoring to get them. Then prajalpo. Prajalpa means unnecessary talk, talking about cricket, politics, society in general, with that definitely not related with devotional service at all. Oh, nice. You're looking very great. Thank you. So, which is not at all related with devotional service. So, things like that. Niyamagraha, this is very important. Getting stuck with some rules just for the sake of following them. I just want to follow this. Why? I don't know. Just getting stuck with some rules just because I have to follow, or just like that. There is no higher purpose attached to it. Jansangascha means having association with worldly minded people. You know, sometimes people say no because we have to preach, we have to talk to them. From preaching perspective, that's fine. And from preaching perspective also, we talk to them, we talk to those people, those have some faith, you know. Random people, if we are talking, then we'll have to see if we are talking because we want to enjoy that conversation or we are actually talking to preach them, you know. That is why preaching should be under some senior person's guidance. Otherwise independent preaching is very dangerous. Then lolium means greed. I want to have something because I want more and more and more. That is lolium. So these are the 6 things that Rupa Goswami is telling here. Atyahara, Priyasascha, 2. Third is Prajalpa. Then Niyamagra, 4. Then Jansangya, 5. And Lolyam is 6. So let's read the translation. Mataji, would you be able to read the translation for me? Okay. No issues.
No, I can. Yes.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1. Eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than required. 2. Over endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. 3. Talking unnecessarily about the mundane subject matters. 4. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement, or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. 5. Associating with the worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. And 6. Being greedy for
Alright, achieve. These are the 6 things. Huh? Atyahara, eating more than necessary, collecting more funds than required, and then over endeavoring for mundane things. Second, then third is talking unnecessarily. Fourth is practicing just for the sake of practicing them, not for the spiritual advancement. Like I remember on the fourth one, I remember when I used to go to Mangal Aarti, when I became very regular, I felt like I'm just going for the sake of going because it is my routine. But why I'm going, I actually don't know. You know, that time whenever I started becoming regular, then slowly I realized that if I am not reading and hearing regularly, then I will not understand the importance of going into Mangal Aarti every day. You know? That is why this full package of ABCD that we call, association of devotees, book reading, chanting, and diet means Krishna Prasadam. This is very, very important for us to completely understand the rules and regulations that we are following. Sometimes people say, my chanting is becoming very mechanical. Why? Because we are not hearing or reading these scriptures. That is about, we are not hearing the lectures, we are not reading the scriptures, that we are not understanding the importance of a spiritual advancement. That is the reason the chanting is becoming mechanical. Correct? No? So this is about that. And then associating with worldly minded persons who are not interested in Krishna consciousness. Someone is showing interest in Krishna consciousness, we are preaching him, perfect. But someone is not at all showing interest in Krishna consciousness, but we are stubborn that no, we will make him a devotee, then we are finished. He will not become a devotee, and our devotion service will also be finished. So we'll have to see if there is a spark, then you can go and preach him, and preach slow. So we'll discuss about that. Then being greedy for the mundanity achievements. These are the 6 subject matters. Now, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada, very interestingly, when the first time when I started reading it, I was thinking that Prabhupada will start from Atyahar, which is the first point, no? Eating more than necessary, collecting more funds than required. I thought Prabhupada will start from this. And when I started reading the purport, Prabhupada says, human life is meant for plain living and high thinking, since all conditioned souls. So it's like, okay, not in one paragraph, probably next one Prabhupada will talk about Atyahar. So I went to next paragraph. So there is no mention of Atyahar. Then I went to third one. I was like, okay, probably in this. Here also Prabhupada is talking about Bhagavad Gita, Devim Prakriti. I said, okay, no problem. So I kept going like this. Then amazingly, after 5th paragraph, Prabhupada is now talking about here Atyahar. He's saying Atyahar is prohibited. So what is that Prabhupada is doing? In the first 5 paragraphs, is very interesting to know that Prabhupada is first setting the stage. What we should be doing and what we should not be doing. Prabhupada is setting the stage for us to understand why we should be doing something and why should not be doing. So let's see. So let me explain it again in the MS Paint. I hope all of you can see my screen. There is a MS Paint that I'm showing. Yeah. So think of a king. There's a king is having a palace. Yeah. So let's say there is a king and he is living in a palace. And in the palace, he has his queen, his queen, his sons, and everybody is there. And then king is he owns a country, so he has his own citizens also, right? His own citizens also, and they are living in his country. You can see like that. Okay. So in this palace, when a king is living with his own family members, he reciprocate with them personally. It's a personal relationship with them. So this is called one type of energy. You can call it one type of energy that he is spending here in his interactions with his own people, family people. And then to handle his citizens, he comes in his court and he has his ministers and everybody. Those ministers are taking care of the citizens, and their ministers also are not personally taking care of the citizens. Their ministers also have their own representatives in the local areas, and those local leaders also have their helpers, and those are taking care of the citizens probably person. So there is no direct chain, I would say. There's like a minister, then local people, then someone third person, like that citizens are being taken care. So this is another type of energy that this king is applying here. So I'm putting it as number 2. Please feel free to interrupt whenever you feel it's becoming a little hard. So please feel free to interrupt. And I will repeat. So this is one type of energy this king is applying in his own palace. This is second type of energy that king is applying to maintain his kingdom. Correct? No? Now these citizens, let's say, are given a choice by the king. King is saying, if you will follow certain rules and regulations, then you can actually become my own son. You can take the place of my own servant in my palace. You can become my daughter. You can become my queen. You can become my friend. You can actually come in my own palace where you can have direct relationship with me. So these citizens are given a choice. Actually, these citizens are given a choice to come back to the king's palace. Now, so if you have understood this, if there is any question, please feel free to interrupt and I will repeat. And if not, then let me come back to the purport. Prabhupada is telling here that the Supreme Personality Godhead has three primary energies or potencies. The first one is called Antaranga Shakti, the internal potency. The second is called Tatastha Shakti or marginal potency, and third is called Bahiranga Shakti. Okay. Now, in this example, once again, if you see my so king is having one energy. This energy is called internal potency. Internal potency. What Prabhupada is mentioning here, in the purport is saying Antaranga Shakti. So this is Antaranga Shakti of the king that king is using to maintain his own palace, king and son, queens and sons. And there is a Bahiranga Shakti, external potency, that king is using to maintain his country. But then there is marginal potency also, the marginal energy. The marginal energy, whoever is in the scope of the king's marginal energy, there are citizens, and citizens have been given the choice to come under external energy, the Bahiranga Shakti, or come under internal energy, the Antaranga Shakti of the king. So the same thing Prabhupada is telling here, that the king is having three type of Shakti, the energies. One is Antaranga Shakti, Tatastha Shakti, and marginal Bahiranga. Tatastha Shakti or marginal potency, and the third is Bahiranga Shakti, the external potency. Let me take a pause here. Please feel free to interrupt. Is there any question on this? Anybody? I might ask you to repeat whatever I said. So, so please feel free to interrupt.
Yeah, Prabhu, have you in the past actually explained all these three different Shaktis that I may have missed? But I mean, it's not easy for me to understand differences.
No, this is the first time we are discussing it. So you have a question, Mataji, on this?
Yeah, Prabhu. So, I mean, I'm not understanding the differences between marginal potency, internal potency, Bahiranga Shakti, Antaranga Shakti, and also what exactly do these mean?
See, you work in a company, right? You spend some energy with your kids at your home, correct? No? You spend some energy in your office with your colleagues. Correct? No? But the type of affection that you have with your kids, that type of affection we will not have with your colleagues in the office. That there is a difference. Correct? Does make sense?
So which category is this one?
So the internal potency, the energy that you are using at your home, that's your internal potency, the Antaranga Shakti. The energy that you are using to maintain your outside affairs, outside your home, that's your Bahiranga Shakti that you are using.
Okay. Okay.
So that is internal and external. Now, so now what happens? The Jiva is also the part and parcel of Krishna. Jiva is also having energy, isn't it? No. But what type of Krishna's energy Jiva is having? That is marginal potency. Marginal means Jiva by quality is same as Krishna, but not in quantity. Like we discussed, right? The water drop of an ocean is same in quality, but quantity, huge difference. Correct? No? Krishna is also having energy. The living entity is also having energy, but living entity is having marginal potency. It has a limited freedom. Now, Jiva, by their own will, can go into internal potency also, can go into external potency also. which means if there is a person outside your home, he can enter in your home and can get the same relationship with you, but he should be willing to be your servant, to follow your rule regulation as is. Then you will give him the same affection as you give to your children. He's actually your children. He is forgetful. He's just outside roaming. He doesn't know. He's forgetful. But once he revives his original consciousness after practicing bhakti yoga, he can be part of the family. You can allow him to come in. Is it heavy so far?
No, understand now, Prabhu. Thank you.
So it's like that. So there are different energies, but don't get it confused with the scientific energies. Sometimes we think of potential energy, kinetic energy. It's not that heavy. It's simple. It's not heavy. So living entity is also having some energy. It's just that he has to utilize his free will to be part of Krishna's family. It's as simple as that. If we are misutilizing our free will, then we can be part of Maya's family. But it's our own choice. Mama Maya Duratya. Krishna is saying Mama Maya. Maya is also Krishna's only. Krishna's. That is external potency of Krishna. You understood, na? But that is like minister of Krishna, maintaining this material world. So we want to be the family. We want to be in the family of Krishna's minister or in the family of Krishna's actually. We want to be direct associate of Krishna. Correct, na? So that is what Prabhupada is telling here. Jaipur, is it heavy? It's okay.
No, it's okay right now. Yeah.
Okay. Now Prabhupada is telling that a living entity constitutes the marginal potency and they are situated between internal and external. So they are given a choice like that. So Prabhupada is saying subordinate, eternal servants and all that we discussed. So, and then Prabhupada is telling that Mahatmanas tu mam partha devim prakrti mashrita bhajante ananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Partha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of divine nature. They are engaged in devotional service because they know me as a supreme personality of Godhead, original and exhaustible. Now, Prabhupada will start explaining about the people, those utilize their free will and accept devotional service. Some people might be thinking that, oh, it is just a melodrama going on. Every morning, these devotees, they just start dancing in kirtan, shouting like that. So Prabhupada is telling actually this is not a melodrama going on. These people are Mahatmas. Why? Because this is what Krishna is telling. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the supreme personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Now Prabhupada is explaining the definition of Mahatma. So saying the word Mahatmas refer to those who are broad-minded, not cripple-minded. Who are cripple-minded? Cripple-minded persons always engaged in satisfying their senses, sometimes expend their activities in order to do good for others, though some ism like nationalism, humanitarianism, and altruism. So sometimes people think that those are doing welfare activities for others are actually doing it for others. Are they really doing it for others? Or are they satisfying their bigger ego? I want to satisfy my ego by satisfying others' ego. Who are we actually doing it for? I'm satisfying my ego by satisfying others' ego. So it's like I'm satisfying bigger ego, isn't it? So Prabhupada is saying that cripple-minded always engaged in satisfying their senses, sometimes expend their activities in order to good for others. So when we are do good for others, then it's not like we should not be doing good for others, but it is not the higher principle that we should be doing. I opened it actually today. Yeah, I was reading it. You see in 12th chapter, what Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita, this is the higher principle. Text 8. Krishna is saying, just fix your mind upon me, Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engage all your intelligence in me. Thus you will live in me, always without a doubt. This is the higher principle. But if you can't do it, if you cannot do it, then Krishna says, okay, try to follow the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga, which you and me are trying to do. Correct, na? Because we cannot fix our mind 24/7 on Krishna. We are trying to follow the rule and regulation of Bhakti Yoga. So text 8 is the topmost principle. Then come text 9, which all of us are doing. But if we are not able to do it, then Krishna says, if you cannot practice the regulations of Bhakti Yoga, then just try to work for me, because by working for me, you will come to the perfect stage. Just try to work for me means what? Okay, if you cannot practice the rules and regulations of Bhakti Yoga, at least go ahead and help those who are preaching. At least help those are cooking in the kitchen for Krishna. At least help those are making garland for Krishna. Do some work for Krishna. If you cannot chant 16 rounds, if you cannot wake up early in the morning, if you cannot take association of the devotees, if you cannot do this, okay, no problem. There are rules and regulations of Bhakti. You can't do it, no problem. If you cannot read, you cannot hear the lectures, no problem. At least assist those are working for Krishna. Okay, I cannot do this also. Then Krishna says, if however you are unable to work in this consciousness of me, then try to act giving up all results of your work and try to be self-situated. That's where you can say come the social welfare and all, where you give up the results and you give it to others and you become self-situated. But are they devotees? Or are these people, those are doing this, are higher than devotees? Devotee is the highest principle. That's what Krishna is telling here. Just fix your mind upon me. This is the highest principle. But if we, because we can't do it, okay, comes to this, follow the rule regulation of Bhakti Yoga, become my, why we are following rule regulation? To come to this stage. Okay, you can't follow the rule regulation. Okay, help those are following the rule regulation. Then what would happen? You will start following, you will also start following rule regulation. Then you will come to the perfect stage. Oh, I can't help them. I don't even like those are into devotional service. Okay, then no problem. Become self-situated. So I am telling you this, that sometime doing social welfare is treated as the biggest service to mankind. Help those are in need. This is like a biggest jargon, those are being used. But no, becoming a devotee is what Krishna is telling in Bhagavad Gita is the biggest work that we can do the mankind. Preaching is the biggest work that we can do. For how long you can feed a poor person, for example, if there is a hungry person, you feed him. You will satisfy his hunger for probably 12 hours, probably one day, 1 week, 1 year, whole life. But what can you, is there a program the way you can satisfy his hunger for eternity? What if the person is angry in the next life? What would you do for him? But if you give him Krishna, then you are satisfying his hunger for eternity. Even after this life, he will go back home, back to Godhead, and there is no hunger there. Now, some people might argue that what about his hunger this life? If person is hungry, then how he will do bhajan to go back home, back to Godhead? Then Prabhupada used to say that every morning, afternoon, and evening, ISKCON temples are distributing prasadam, which is Krishna conscious food, which means you have it, you will become devotee. So you satisfy your hunger, become devotee, and go back home, back to Godhead. That is the complete package that we can give to even a hungry person, a person in need, in whatever way. So this will be called complete help. Partial help doesn't make sense, isn't it? So this is what Mahatmas are doing. So cripple-minded person work to satisfy their senses or other senses. In other senses also, they satisfy their own senses. So like that Prabhupada is mentioning about ism here, through some ism, like nationalism, humanitarianism, and all these things. Yes, Shweta Mataji.
Prabhuji, it is mentioned here, nationalism, humanitarianism is also the same thing. But
Yes.
don't you think, Prabhuji, is like it's our duty sometimes to be keep it as a one nation? If it, because I know it's for a devotees, it's for entire thing is an one family, but still to protect some of the land culture, or to protect from other to getting attacked, we need to have certain kind of nationalism. We cannot stay this country does not belong to me because it has given so much to us,
No.
like.
The way we see is different. For example, a soldier. So there is a difference. Let's say soldier is there at the border. and he has to fight for his nation. So it is his duty to fight for the nation. He should be doing it, and he should definitely be doing it. But the soldier should have the proper mindset, full knowledge that the next birth he can be on other side of the border also. Correct, na?
Hmm.
You understand my point? For example, today he is fighting for India. In the next birth, he might be fighting for Pakistan. He might be on the other side of the border also.
But that is his dharma, no, Prabhuji, because he is
But
protecting the people.
yes,
That
yes.
is the main thing, right?
Nationalism means, you know what nationalism? Nationalism means I am from India. India is everything, this and that. So this is called bodily consciousness. What you are saying is the spiritual consciousness. You know that this is my
Mm-hmm.
dharma. I have to do my duty. Like as a father, I cannot say, oh, what is this being a father? It's just the body. We are in different soul. Why should I take care of my children? No, this is as a father, my duty is to take care of my children. So as a duty, I should be doing all these things. This is called proper consciousness. No? But if I think that I am I am the only protector or doer of my children, and I am the only one who will decide what I should be doing for my children, they don't have anything. That is the selfish mood, which is being
It
created.
is not like, sorry, Prabhuji, it is not like I only have to do, but I have to do because if everyone say I don't want to do, then we are just going away from doing our
No, no,
duties,
no, no.
Prabhuji.
Krishna consciousness is not escapism. In escapism, we say, "Oh, I don't want to do this." Escape. We are escaping from everything. Like Mayavadis do. They say, "Neti, neti, neti." We don't want to do this. We don't want to do this. This is all Maya. Krishna consciousness means developing the proper consciousness of doing things. Like you said, this is my duty. When I am at the border, I have to protect my citizens. So that is one way of looking at things. For
Mm-hmm.
example, Arjuna is also saying, I don't want to do this. I don't want to fight. I want to go Himalayas. But Krishna is saying, no, do your duty. As a Kshatriya, you are supposed to do your duty. Otherwise, you are not setting right standards for others. Correct? No?
Yeah,
So
so
as a
that
duty,
means you're telling, so if I born in one country, if that country is expecting something from us, fulfilling that is my duty.
huh,
Over doing that is not my duty. You're telling? Is that?
what is not my duty, Mataji?
Overdoing it is not my
Getting
duty.
over attached is not my duty. Correct.
Okay. Okay. So also probably like I think most of this in group, most of the time we are more attached to India. That is true. Like it is not that we are not attached to India. Even when we are in US, we are thinking of no, we have to go back to India and settle down there only, not here. Because we are always in a dual mindset. It's not that it's everybody who is here. So we are attached. That's the reason we are feeling that, or why we are not, feeling that everywhere is, place we can settle down
Yeah,
anywhere
that
and we can do
is why
bhakti.
we are feeling that. If we are in pure consciousness, if we can see Krishna everywhere, then
Hmm.
whether it is India or here doesn't matter to us. We are some way attached to the country. That's why we are feeling that. Some people want to
Hmm.
go back to India because there are a lot of dhams, na? Vrindavan,
Hmm.
Mayapur, Jagannath Puri, so
Hmm.
many dham are there. So they want to stay near temple. So that is also fine because they are not attached to India. They are
Okay.
attached to dham. That is fine.
Okay.
I
Okay.
want to go to India because that is my country.
Hmm.
Um, that is not the devotee's mood actually. Devotee's mood is actually to create Vrindavan outside Vrindavan.
Hmm.
You know,
Okay. Hmm. Hmm.
uh, that is why ISKCON has a lot of focus on preaching, no? Because we want to create Vrindavan. Like one Vrindavan over Radha Kalachanji Dham, we have Vrindavan here. This is Vrindavan where
Okay.
you come every Sunday.
Hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yes. Yes. Yes, Prabhuji. I got it. I got my answer.
Okay. Thank you, Shweta Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Shweta Mataji. Is it confusing, Jay Prabhu? Is it make sense?
It makes sense. I mean, but there are some other questions around this that come up. Basically, when we get involved in a way, when you get involved in your duties and activities,
Mhm.
then those duties also kind of drive you to.
Yeah.
Becomes a requirement of being. You would say, I don't want to be over involved, but maybe there is no way out of that to some extent, right? I mean, that also happens. So that's a bit of a
Mhm.
thing. So how to keep that balance in? So that is always there. So I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, so you get involved in a job.
I completely agree with you.
So I just want to do this much, but no, I mean, it just requires that, you have to achieve those goals and things, and people get involved. I mean, maybe that's one way that people get involved. I don't know how people can get out of that. So that is also there. So in some ways that may apply to nationalism and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Actually, that is why, because some situations differ. This case vary person to person, and that's where counseling comes into picture, where a counselor will hear, okay, what is the person is in what situation, and then he will guide him. That's where Guru Shishya Parampara is there. Sometime a guru will tell her, the disciple will come and he say, I want to worship that particular Devi, and Guru will say, okay, no problem, you go. And the other disciple will say, I want to worship. They'll say, no, you can't. Same guru is giving different instruction to different disciples based on their situation, based on their inclination or stage. Even a Vaishnava guru can. So the counseling is where the relationship, guru shishya relationship is there, where guru will understand sister situation, and then accordingly will guide him. But yes, that is for sure that Maya won't let you go. Like you said, Jay Prabhu, that we get into some situation where we have to do it. That's how Maya works. It won't let you go. It won't let you go. We were playing very easily in Maya's lab, but now we started attending these classes, chanting, reading. Then you are actually leaving Maya's lab. Maya is like, okay, what is happening with this kid? He was just in my lab. Whatever I was asking him to do is he was doing, and now he's not listening to me. What is this? So Maya won't let you go. He will throw all the toffees, all the cookies in front of us to stay in the lap of Maya. To get rid of out of Maya is very difficult. One time, one disciple went to Prabhupada and he said, Prabhupada, that person left our movement. That person left our movement. What is happening? Prabhupada said that the surprising thing is not the people are leaving. The surprising thing is that people are staying. Isn't it? Maya's
Right.
force is that leaving is always an option and people can easily leave. That is not surprising. The surprising thing, people are still staying. That is very surprising.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
so I also get surprised sometimes that we started this batch in April and all of you are still giving me your blessings. So I'm also surprised that all of us are still staying together, being very regular, coming every Sunday. Thank you so much for that. Okay, I think I took 10 minutes, 15 minutes over today. I'm sorry for that. Probably we'll continue the discussion in next class. Hope the discussion was helpful. Thank you so very much once again.
I have one question before we leave. So we were talking about the 6 principles and what not to do, but it seems so to practice unless and until you have renounced the material world that you live in. The only one that you can achieve is not overeat, but not. Like I'll give you an example. If you have a child and the child is going to engage you in a conversation, which is going to be mundane, it's not going to be about Krishna, but you can't not do it. So the other 5 principles seem so difficult to practice while you're living in a material world. So unless and until you have actually renounced the material world, how does Prabhupada expect us to achieve this rule? Like one of them was associating only with devotees, which is also not possible because we work, we have friends who may not be even a Krishna conscious.
Devotees.
So it's so difficult. I'm just trying to understand, like,
it's not difficult.
Can you achieve?
Yeah. So what we discussed today, we mainly discussed the background. We are trying to set the stage for these principles. But in the following classes, we'll discuss more in detail how do we apply them in our day-to-day life. we have more than, I would say, a billion devotees around the world, not only in ISKCON but across, and those are reading Bhakti Rasamrit, uh, Shishtkashtakam, all these principles that these amazing literatures have been stated, and they're following it. I myself also trying to follow it. So don't worry, these are all practical rules. We don't need to renounce the material world. We'll discuss them in detail one by one. How do we apply it? Some of the rules we can immediately apply to 100%. Some of the rules we might slowly apply from 10% to 20 to 100 slowly. But these are all practical rules. We would be able to apply them. And you will definitely see benefit after applying them. So when we say atyaharna, in a short, when we say atyahar, doesn't mean that you have to immediately start stopping or you have to stop eating nothing. Not like that. We'll see how do we practically apply it and get benefit out of it.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Sure. Okay, thank you so much for joining. Vancha kaltarubhasya kripa sindhavya patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavyo namo namaha. Anant koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.